Hello everybody and welcome to this quick start Adobe Photoshop CS5 Extended. And no, you couldn't get a longer title if you tried. My name is Dwayne Ferguson, and in this quick start we're going to talk about some of the new tools in Extended, which of course comprise 3D tools and an HDR lighting mode that you can apply to images and so on. I'm also going to show you in this lesson an overview of the application itself. And one other note, I'll also show you how we can incorporate the powers of Adobe Illustrator with Photoshop. So we're going to do all kinds of cool stuff. And this is going to be project based, and we're going to do a couple of projects that are very simple. Some have some advanced features in it, so everybody should find something that they can do and learn. All right, so the first thing of course we have is this options bar that appears depending on the tool you have selected. Currently I have this guy right here, which is our move tool. If I go to my rectangular marquee tool, or any of these selection tools, by holding down the mouse on any of these icons that have this little black arrow, you see that I can choose a different tool, and I have a different options bar that appears. If I grab the lasso tool, I'll get some different options, crop, and so on. So what you want to do is choose a tool and then change the settings if you need to. Now 9 times out of 10, I don't need to change the settings. Typically, the brush size is the most important thing for me. So if I grab a brush, for example, I can hit the left bracket on my keyboard to decrease the size of the brush, and likewise the right bracket to increase the size of the brush. The brush tool will be a very commonly used tool in conjunction with selections, which is what Photoshop's all about. Now for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm going to go to my layers over here. And as you can see, I have the layer of this bottle that I created for a client, and I'm going to double click on it to unlock the layer. Or I could rename this layer if I wanted to. So I can go ahead and type bottle and hit OK. Then I can grab one of these selection tools, create a selection, and whatever's inside of these marching ants will be affected by whatever I do next. Whatever's outside will be protected. Let me go ahead and grab a brush real fast, and I'll change the color by clicking one time on this color swatch. And let's grab a red color, for example. And I'm going to click out here and drag. Nothing's happening, but as I get closer to the inside, or actually inside, you'll notice that the image is affected because I've colored inside of that selection. I'm going to go to Edit, Undo, and Edit, Redo to show you that I can go back and forth. To deselect, I'll press Command or Control and the letter D on my keyboard. So these are your selection tools. Your Move tool will come in handy when you have something on another layer that you want to move, for example. I'll click down here in my Layers panel, and I'm going to grab that selection tool again, draw out a rectangle. I'll go to Edit, Fill, and I'm going to fill this selection with this foreground color, as you can see here. Or I could choose background color. I'm going to press Command or Control D to deselect, and I'm going to grab the Move tool and make sure I'm on this layer with this box on it. I click and drag, and it moves it around. So what you're going to do in Photoshop is you're going to work with layers, and then you're going to move those layers around if you need to. And you can also hide and show things. So let's say I don't want to see this box. I don't have to delete it. I click on the eyeball right here. It's still there. Likewise, I could do the same thing to the bottom layer. Now you might be wondering, what's up with this checkerboard pattern? The checkerboard does not print. It's simply a visual cue to us that there's nothing here. This represents transparency. Now, let's talk about some of the other tools. Cropping. Cropping is when you want to take an image and you want to kind of get rid of what you don't want to see. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that little box again. I'm going to go ahead and click right here to close my layers. And I'm going to click and drag to create a crop. And I can go ahead and move this box around and double click, and I've cropped away what I don't want. Now I'm going to press Command or Control Z to undo that. Now that we know some of the tools, let's take a look at what we have in our interface. This is our toolbox or tool bar, and we can move this around. Many of these things, by the way, are also called panels. And you can go ahead and click on some of these to open and close the various panels. If there's a panel you don't see that you want to use, you go to the window menu to invoke it. So if we want our actions panel, we can go ahead and bring that out. We can go ahead and grab a histogram, and you can also modify the arrangement of your panels. I'm going to go ahead and click on these arrows at the top here to show you that I can do things like take the swatches tab I go ahead and grab it, pull it down, and I can put it wherever I see a blue line. You notice this blue line at the edge? If I let go, it lives there now. I'll tear it off, and I'll go and put it where I see the blue line, and it lives there. Or I can put it back where it was by clicking until I see the entire box turn blue, and now it's there. Likewise, I can go and click on these little arrows here to collapse things, and I can click on the whole thing and move them around as well. And they kind of lock on to wherever you let go. The other tools that you'll be using quite often, of course, will be keyboard shortcuts. So if you want to rotate your entire canvas, you hit R on your keyboard and you click and drag to rotate. Now this is really great for people who write or draw at extreme angles like I do. I literally draw like this. It's kind of weird. And if you ever watch those old Batman cartoons or Batman live action shows, the bad guys always lived in a crooked environment like this. So I'm not sure what that says. But anyway, that is an example of how we can use things like that. Likewise, you can hit the Command or Control key in conjunction with the plus or minus keys to zoom in or out of your document. And last but not least, what you can also do is if you need to, you can hit F on your keyboard to hide the interface, hit F again, and you can go ahead and change how you're working with your document so you can see more tabs or no tabs at all. So this was a quick overview of what we're going to cover and learn, and there's a lot more to do inside of this quick start tutorial.